when asked about the underworld, he said, I know nothing about the underworld. We were the overworld. I'm going to get into Meyer Lansky, Bugsy Siegel, Lucky Luciano, and a lot more. And folks, before I do, please hit all those buttons. Hit the subscribe button, okay? And please, all right, if you go into my profile, there's a button you could hit, all right, for memberships. There's got my two favorite people here. Nancy, how are you? Nancy and Lindy, both of you ordered a book yesterday and it's on the way to you. So I want to thank you for that. Okay? Nancy stayed up. God bless her. It's almost her bedtime. So folks, told you, yeah, there's crazy. Chris, Agent Orange, God bless his hair. Okay? We had a lot of people coming today, hopefully, folks. You know, I realize it's Labor Day weekend, and a lot of people are going away. And I really love it when everybody leaves Los Angeles. Because then I can get in the car and I could drive any place I want with no traffic. Otherwise, folks, traffic here is so terrible you can't believe it. Okay? I want to thank Nancy, Rocco, all for coming here today. Okay, let's get this room rocking. Okay? Folks, as you probably know, if you don't know, I actually knew Meyer Lansky and Frank Costello. I never met Lucky Luciano. He was deported by the time I came around. But I had the honor and privilege of meeting Meyer Lansky and Frank Costello. I called him Uncle Frank. When I met with Frank Costello, I was already groomed by my friend Frank Russo. So the one thing that I knew is don't talk, but listen. And I tell folks this all the time. I tell you here, listen, okay? You'll be surprised at what you will learn and what you will hear. You learn more from listening than you do talking. That's why God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, okay? So you could do twice as much listening than talking. So I just got finished. It's really funny. Here I am doing this story, and then what appears on Amazon Prime? The movie Lansky. I watched this movie. All right, it was with Harvey Keitel. Here's a list of some of the characters here. Harvey Keitel played the older Meyer, and John McGarrell played the younger one. And Sam Worthington was in there, Elon Rockaway, host of others. But folks, when I watched that, I gotta tell you, Harvey Keitel did such an amazing job. All right? He looked like Meyer Lansky. Makeup did a great job with him, okay? I mean, he looked exactly like Meyer. And if you anyway watch the movie, you will see that Meyer was always dressed in a suit. When I met Frank Costello, always in a suit. All the old-time gangsters, they all dressed. I did. Always had a suit, a tie, looking good. And you know another thing that everybody had in common? Everybody read books. All these old timers read books. So let's get into what changed. When did it change? I think that's all. There's my buddy Wyatt. Thank you, Wyatt. We were waiting for you, buddy. Folks, give Lindy a plauder. She's doing an amazing job. Okay, I really appreciate what she's doing. All right. Yeah, espresso. I already had more espresso than you could imagine today. So, folks, let's talk some of my conversations with Meyer. Now, I met Frank Costello first, and my meetings with him were at the Waldorf Hotel, where he always maintained a suite there. And I listened and listened. Don't do a lot of talking. Once in a while, when he talked and he asked you a question, you answered the question, okay? But I learned a lot about listening. Now, the conversations, Frank Russo was always at those meetings also. He's the one who brought me there. And I remember one time they were talking about Havana, Cuba, and what happened there, okay? And that's where the decision came that Bugsy, they had to do away with him. And I call him Bugsy, but if you, in real life, you would never call him Bugsy because he would really do something bad. All right? His name was Benjamin Siegel. All right? And growing up, it was him, Frank Costello, and Meyer Lansky. They knew each other as kids, and Lucky Luciano. They all grew up together. And then bootlegging came, the prohibition came, and that's where they made a lot of money. And really, truthfully, they were the overworld. All right, Frank Costello had his thumbs on politics from the president on down, okay? There's a place called Tammany Hall in New York. He controlled it, okay? The power that they had on the streets and politically and big businesses was amazing, okay? That's when the Mafia in the United States was really the Mafia. But, from that there, you get a little feedback about that meeting in Havana, Cuba. Then I meet Meyer. And I met Meyer in the lobby of the Warwick Hotel. And it was by accident. He was actually in the suite above me, okay? But he was there one night, and I was talking with this guy that I brought to New York, and I was going to be attending an event for Brandeis University. Now, I used to go to Brandeis University, United Jewish Appeal. I used to give a lot of money to these places. I was making a lot of money, okay? And, Frank Costello and Meyer, they meet, and my name came up, so he sort of knew who I was. So he and I would walk. He always walked his dog every night. And we would walk down 54th Street, over to 57th, down to 5th to 57th, okay? And then up to 6th Avenue, back to 54th to the Warwick. We do that there for, must have been, I probably did it 10 times with Meyer Lansky. So, I listened to a lot. And this message being held for review. What message? Lindy, what is that? You holding something for review? What message? I didn't see it, so I don't know what I'm talking about here. Okay? Uh, I don't know what the question was, so I can't say anything about it. I apologize. Now, the last time that Meyer Lansky ever saw Lucky Luciano was in Cuba when they made the decision. That was in when was that? Let me find it. Okay, that was in December 1946. I think they had one more meeting after that there, I'm not sure. All right, but the meeting, you gotta remember, Meyer Lansky was Jewish. And Meyer Lansky was a syndicate. And a lot of you folks think the syndicate and Mafia were the same. No, the Mafia was Italian, the syndicate was mainly all Jewish. They were tough Jewish guys there. Okay, you had a lot of them, and we'll talk more about that on future episodes. Okay, but let's talk about this. Now, look, it was very, very tough. Because Meyer told me, he didn't say what the decision was, but I knew what it was. The toughest decision he ever had to make was approving what happened to Bugsy Siegel. All right? That was very, very tough for him. They were childhood friends, and all the work that Benjamin Siegel did for Meyer was amazing. So it was a very tough decision, but he knew he had to make it, and that was the right decision that he had to make, okay? And why did he make that decision, okay? Well, that decision became Bugsy Siegel and the organization put a lot of money together to rebuild the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas. Now, for those of you who've been to Las Vegas, you know the Flamingo Hotel. Okay, I frequented it often. I know it. The Siegel traveled to Las Vegas, where he handled and financed some of the city's original casinos. He assisted developer William Wilkerson's Flamingo Hotel. After Wilkerson ran out of funds, Siegel assumed control of the project and managed the final stages. The Flamingo opened in December 26, 1946, and a 3-day event that was well received without a hotel to accompany the casino. The Flamingo struggled and closed from February 6th, and it reopened on March 1st, 1947. Siegel's partners were convinced that an estimated $1 million of the construction budget went missing, and it was taken by Benjamin Siegel and his girlfriend, Virginia Hill. When, on June 20th, 1947, you all know I did a story right in front of the house, at Benjamin Siegel's house, right here on Linden Drive. Okay? It was Virginia Hill's mansion where they lived. And if you see it, you know what the neighbors heard After the shooting was two cars squeezing away. Two cars, not one car. One car was the guy with the rifle that did the work. That was an Italian. It's an Italian. We think it name is. It's got to go back to my show that I did in front of his house. It's here on YouTube. You can find it. Okay? But who was in that other car? It had to be witnessed by a Jewish person from the syndicate. And that's why there were two cars squealing away. See, that's the proper protocol, and that's a rule of La Familia, okay? Of the Mafia. That's the rule. You know, in order to survive in that world, you gotta know the politics, you gotta know everything. You gotta be watching your back every single moment, okay? You know, folks, we're allowing anybody who wants to come in, okay? And we appreciate everybody that comes in to hear me talking and telling my stories. And, you know, and we appreciate everybody leaving a comment, okay? And I respect you, all right? But leave your comments clean. We don't have to do anything sexual. You know, there's nothing sexual about this here, okay? So leave them clean so we don't have to, Lindy doesn't have to put you on timeout or something. Don't get upset, okay? We're doing something good here, giving good advice, educating people. It's what we're trying to do. I'm 80 years old. And, you know, I could take anything anybody throws at me. I'm a tough guy. Don't get me wrong. And don't take me wrong. I'm the nicest guy in the world until somebody crosses me. And so let's keep it that way. And once again, I want to let you know about the memberships. It's right there, how you become a membership. There's one membership there that's $50. If you want to have a private telephone conversation with me, that's what that is, okay? You'll get a 10, 15-minute telephone call with me, and that's for $50, and you must pay that through PayPal, all right? For those of you who love me, want to support me, hit that thanks button. Don't be shy. I appreciate it, okay? Legal gambling began in Atlantic City in 1978. You know where I met Meyer Lansky? It was about 1975. See, the first time, 1974, the voters turned down the referendum to legalize gambling. That's why Meyer was in New York. Meyer was a genius, a mathematical genius. He didn't need a calculator, he used his head. Okay, gambling, he was a mastermind at it. The guy was just a little short guy, but he was a tough guy. And, you know, there's his daughter knew more about him than anybody else, all right? Who doesn't, where it is. There's a book out, let's see, I wrote it down someplace. Daughter of the King. Meyer Lansky's daughter, she was also quite beautiful, and she was a spitfire, okay? I have her book here. I've been reading it. It's an awesome, amazing book. And she was gorgeous. She was really a beautiful girl. unfortunately, she passed away. And her and Nick Pileggi were working on a movie script. And it doesn't look like that's coming to fruition, unfortunately. But you know, we tried. And Dee Martin dated her. Yeah, she was beautiful. So, for those of you who read, gotta get that book, Daughter of the King. All right? But anyways, you know what happened to Bugsy right here on Linden Drive. Virginia Hill. They say she passed away by taking her own life from an overdose of sleeping pills in Austria in 1966 at the age of 49. Benny was only 41 when he passed away. Suicide. Pills. Who else? That's what they say Marilyn Monroe did, right? It wasn't that. Okay, it was not that with Virginia Hill. Remember, her and Benny, and mainly it was her who stole the money from the Flamingo Hotel. So, you see how people worked? The Mafia worked in the old days. They were smart. They knew what they were doing. They strategized. From when the decision was made on Benjamin Siegel until he passed away, it was 6 months went by. Not an overnight thing. It's not a quick thing, boom, 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 like you see in the movies. Don't happen. So I wanted to share that, folks, with you today. You know, Lindy and I have been talking about what's the best time of day for me to be doing my YouTube shows. And I'd like you folks to leave in the comments, please. I like it in the morning better than the afternoon. Some people say I should do them later at night. Folks, I am 80 years old. And, you know, I'm not like some other YouTuber that this is all I do. I have to hustle and try to make money. I am still doing favors for people. Nancy Lyons, thank you again. Nancy came through with $20, folks. This woman is awesome, okay? You know, it's always the woman that I see that doing that there. And Wyatt Earp did it yesterday, okay? And the most people to buy my book, okay? Most people to buy my book are females. Why a woman buying my book? Why is professors saying this is one of the best well-written books that they've ever read? Professor from the University of California, they said that. There's Professor Yamamoto. He does a YouTube, he's got a great YouTube network that he does. Okay? Folks, everything I do, it takes time, it takes strategy. And so, anybody wants to talk to me, go in there and become a member. And they go from $4.99 a month up to $50. Check it out, please. All right, it's all there on my website. You should review my website to learn more about me. I talked about that yesterday. I'm not going to talk about it again today. Uh, I do a lot of thinking, and I put a lot of work into what I'm doing, research and things. Make sure I get the dates right, okay? Now, Michael Franchise spoke about and gave his thoughts that he heard from his father, Sonny. You gotta remember, this was hearsay. Michael don't know, and Sonny didn't know about what really happened, how the decision was made on Benjamin Siegel. Why? Sonny was not made into the Mafia until 1950, okay? Lucky Luciano had already been deported to Italy. Now, I had a personal friend out of Utica, New York, named Rocco, who used to go and visit Lucky in Italy and pass messages. You see, this is how messages were passed. Somebody wrote my comments about Kansas City, and he mentioned a couple of names. And I said, I've been to Kansas City for one day. I flew in at night, I flew out the next day. I was there. Why did I go there? Those names he mentioned, I had to pass a message. You don't pick up the phone and pass messages. Just don't do that. Okay? And that was back in those days, and they didn't have the technology they got today. You see how smart the old-time gangsters were? And that's why it will not exist in the United States anymore. It's still there, okay? Don't think it went away. It's still there, all right? But it's never going to be the way it was. Never. People keep writing me and they want to know more about Diddy and more about Diddy. Honestly, God, I'm tired about Diddy, okay? And I think a lot of you. Thank you there, 506. Thank you for that comment. I appreciate that there. Okay? All right? Thank you, Nancy, for your comment. Appreciate it. I appreciate you folks. And you know, this is my La Familia. You people are my family that come here. Okay? And I really mean it. You're the only reason why I even come. It's not like, you know, if without you folks, I wouldn't be here. And I don't know why lately, here we are, we got 27 people here. We got one thanks from Nancy. Did everybody go away? We freed it up so anybody could leave a comment now. So maybe it's just quiet, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Maybe people are getting burned out on YouTube. Folks, leave me a comment message, you know. So, I don't know, I'm not gonna do 3 o'clock in the afternoon no more. I'm gonna go back to 11 a.m., maybe even 10 a.m. Lindy and I have been talking about it, and I think the morning is better. It's much better for me because normally 3 o'clock is my nap time. Okay? So this is going to be my last show at 3 o'clock. I want you to know that. So, folks, I'm not going to keep you here long today. I want to thank you for coming here. All right, appreciate it. And as usual, all my love and respect. God bless you all. Have a happy, happy Labor Day. Can you imagine Labor Day here? Pretty soon it's going to be Thanksgiving. And this year's going to be over with. So, folks, I'll be back in a few days with something brand new. I'm going to be talking about the Alexander brothers. Do you know who the Alexander brothers are? They're three brothers, big in real estate out of Miami. They were indicted in Miami, and then Damian Williams brought an indictment in the Southern District of New York. I believe they are housed at the MDC, the same place that Diddy is at, and their crimes are horrific. And it's going to be a big trial. And then we got the trial of Abercrombie and Fitch guys. Now, that's going to be a very interesting trial because, you know, when you look at that trial, Abercrombie and Fitch, who owned that? Wexler owned that. Who was Wexler? Wexler is the guy with Jeffrey Epstein, who gave him that home, that mansion in New York, who gave him the rights to all his money. He was a billionaire out of Ohio it was, okay? So I'm going to be talking about those trials. Because Diddy's not the only one in the world. And you know, soon everybody's going to forget about Jeffrey Epstein. It's going to be history. And the day's going to come that everybody's going to forget about Diddy. He's going to be history. He's getting closer every day to his sentencing day. Okay? I watch other YouTubers. I go in for 3 minutes, and I could tell in 3 minutes if they're telling the truth or they're just bullshitting, okay? But people go there. People listen to lies, but yet I come here and listen to truth, okay? And I can't get 100 people. So what's wrong with me? I want to know, because you know what? I was getting a lot of people, and now I'm not. So I can't figure it out. But I'm going to continue being who I am. I'm going to come back. It's going to be me in the raw, like you know me, telling the truth and giving you facts. So, folks, have a nice weekend. God bless you all. All my love and respect as usual.